Good morning, everybody. This is Laura from Healthy Carnivore. For people who are new to this channel, excuse me, registered nurse. I've been a nurse for over 22 years. I did clean keto for 26 years. And then the last 2 years, I did keto treats that were out there. So I didn't work out well for me. So then I switched just over 5 years ago to carnivore. So what I do on here is I talk about carnivore things, keto, ketogenic, ketovore, pretty much anything that gets you into ketosis, fasting. If you have any kind of questions about any of that stuff, definitely drop it in the comments. And then I make natural products. So I do have a website that's russellbrands.com with a Z. Russell Brands with a Z. Anyway, so today, and I got this in my sleep, so I know I'm a nerd. But anyway, what I got in my sleep was the name of this oil that I'm making. So I've had patients before that I've used this kind of stuff on that with really, really good results that have had arthritis pain. I don't know where I said that. Anyway, so what I call it is, my aching joints. So this is going to be an arthritis oil that I'm going to put together that I've seen people get relief from. This is, of course, not medical advice. I do recommend trying certain things to see what works for you. The next video I'm going to do, well, it may be the same video. I don't know. No, I'm going to do a separate one. Never mind. So what I plan on doing is see, it says, oh, my aching joints. Isn't it cute? Anyway, so the other one I'm going to work on oils that are really good for different dermatitis. So like seborrheic dermatitis, really even like eczema and things like that. So no castor oil, no olive oil, because some of that can be irritative to both of those conditions. But I've had several people reach out and want that stuff made. So I am going to do that. Let's see. So let me go over the ingredients with you guys. So if you have these ingredients, you can do it yourself. If you don't have the ingredients, you're welcome. I won't have them up on the website for a little while, probably before 9 o'clock, because I have a chiropractor's appointment this morning. I'll try to get them up there because I take pictures, I put in a description, I do all that on my website. So it may take a little time for me to get to that. So let me give you the recipe. Now this is going to be if you're just making a bottle. I'm going to make multiple bottles of this, but if you were going to just make like a glass dropper bottle for yourself, you would use 1 ounce almond oil. That's if you can tolerate almond oil. Some people cannot. If not, you could double the jojoba oil. You just need a carrier. So next is 2 teaspoons of jojoba oil. Like I said, if you cannot do the almond oil, just double the jojoba. 8 drops of lavender essential oil, 8 drops of eucalyptus, which is, I love the smell of that. Rosemary essential oil, peppermint oil. And then with the arthritis, I find adding like 1/8 of a teaspoon of turmeric into the formulation really lends benefits for people with arthritis pain. Of course, as we all know, arthritis is an inflammatory disorder. So that's where you have to look at what are you putting in your body. You can help yourself by putting these things on your body, but you have to look inward to see what you're eating, because you are what you eat. So if you are putting in a lot of inflammatory foods like carbohydrates and sugars, we're fighting an uphill battle at that point, which everybody's at their own spot in their health journey. I'm just saying that those things tend to make pain worse. So I'm just going to check on here. So Kathy Frost, good morning. Hello, how are you guys? Cat Diamond, I just saw something about comfrey being good for healing bones. Absolutely. So comfrey was actually used for ages. So it's really big leaves. So even like the Indians, if they had a broken wrist, they would take the leaf and they would like heat it in like boiling water, and then they would wrap it around that. So I don't know if any of you watch Doug and Stacy Off Grid. They're out of like Vandalia, Missouri, I think. They make a thing called, well, let me just grab it. I'll show you what they make. And you guys know I'm a prepper, so I have several containers of this from these people. It's called Herbal Stitches, wound care, made by the Missouri Tea Company. So it'd be like the MissouriTeaCompany.com, or you can just go to Doug and Stacy Off Grid on YouTube. But anyway, it has it in there. So this is something that, like, say you got a pretty good gash anywhere. I mean, I've done it on my knuckles before, trying to sharpen up my deer knife because it's deer season. And I've had to sprinkle that inside there. It stops the bleeding and it really promotes the healing. I think comfrey is also called something knit. That's another name for it because it does help, the complex knit itself back together of our skin. But anyway, so it's comfrey root, slippery elm, myrrh, bayberry, and garlic powder in this. And like I said, this will last a person. It's teeny tiny. It will last years, unless I guess you cut yourself constantly. Comfrey, very good stuff. So I have at least 5 of these in like my little prep kit. That's my medical. If I need to go out and help a bunch of people in one setting, I have that available. Let's see, cat diamond. I've heard frankincense is good for that too. Let's see. Yep, thank you. My husband is using that. Awesome. Yes, knit bone. Thank you. I couldn't remember exactly what it was called. So I'm going to go ahead and get mixing this up. I'm doing 4 times the amount it says. I'm going to try that out for this batch and we'll see how it goes. So I am doing sweet almond oil for mine because the people that I'm doing this for locally here, they can tolerate it. All right. Then teaspoon. And if you've watched me, you know that I do not measure much of anything. That's just the way I do things. Let's see. Kat says, I ordered my shampoo bars last night. I saw that at like 4:42. I don't know. An order came in at like 4:42. I got up this morning to do my sprints and my planks that we do on our Marco Polo group. And I was like, holy moly, what are people doing up at that time of the morning? And I don't know, maybe that's the shift you kind of work. So let's show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay. So basically another one of those is going to be about right. So I'm going to be excited to see what this smells like. Let's do the eucalyptus. Eucalyptus, I know I love. It opens up your sinuses, which I'm going to the chiropractor today, and I am excited because my C1, C2, just at the base of your skull, always goes out. I'm sure it's because at work dealing with computers, when I get back to the office, I don't have something set up correctly. And yeah. Anyway, when C1 and C2 are out, that correlates to your sinuses. So I can always tell, I'm like, why do I sound nasally? Well, it's C1 and C2 are out. So I go once a month, whether I need it or not. And I always need it because when I get done, I was like, yes, I feel like a human again. Okay, so 4 drops of rosemary, but we're going to do more than that because we're all right. Yeah, the rosemary smells good too. All right. Peppermint is also 4 drops, but like I said, I'm doing 4 times the amount. I did some more tooth powder last night because I saw somebody, I think it was T. Lewis, sent me a message saying that she was going to buy quite a bit of tooth powder. It was coming up. So I went in and I looked and I was like, well, I've got a lot, but I may need more. So I made more. So that is what that's going to look like right now. I'm going to mix the oils together first, just like that. And then I'm going to add the turmeric in, which is going to give it almost like a mustard color. You'll see. When I made, I still have 1 or 2 containers of the lotion that I made for psoriasis. The gentleman who used that in Carthage, I'll be excited to see what benefits he saw for himself. I don't really want to make a mess on this, but I'm probably gonna. All right, so this said an eighth of a teaspoon. So perfect. Like I said, this is now what I will tell people is when you put this on and you rub it into your joints, please, 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 please either wear gloves or go wash your hands because this is like an Indian spice. And I promise you, you get this in your eyeballs. I mean, it's not going to blind you, but it's going to hurt like the dickens. So definitely be careful. I know when I made that lotion, I was like, whoo. So I don't know if any of you have ever had curry, like curried chicken or curried anything. But one of the last keto things that I made online, somebody had said, could we make keto or no, curried chicken, like chicken thigh meat or whatever? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. It was delicious. It was one of the best things. I've never had it before that. I had never had any kind of curried Indian type food. And it was wonderful. I was like, oh, I could eat this. So this is not a very scientific method, but what I do, because I'm a nurse, and no, these have not been used on anything. These were fresh out of the package, but this is how I get stuff into my jars. And I may have to make a second batch to equal what I want. Yeah, that's about a good amount. So see how far up? That's about where I try to fill the jars. So we'll see how many this makes. And like I said, I did 4 times what the recipe called for. So I'm going to have to do more because I know that I've got 3 patients, actually ex-patients, that have graduated that want some. And I want to be able to put some up online. So I'm just used to making such a big batch of stuff. So I'm going to do this again when I'm offline. I'm going to do a double batch of that. So it'd be 8 times the amounts that I told you because I'll show you how much this made. And I do really fill these. I like to have them as close as possible. So it made 2 full, these are 30 ml bottles, and then just a fourth of the other. So yeah, I want there to be more than that because like I said, I'm going to put some of them up online. So let's see if anybody's got questions. Oh, 9 p.m. Okay. I don't know. I had a couple come in. I will get those put together as soon as I get done with this, and those will go out this morning. So I always try to do that. That was so hard on me psychologically when I was at Keto Palooza because I didn't want to shut down the website or put it on like a hold. You can do that, like my order page, I can do that. But I don't know. I just didn't want to do that. And I got several orders while I was there. And I was like palpitations because I was like, oh my God, I always get them out the same day or the very next morning. Like, unless my post office, we live in a teeny tiny town and the post office sometimes is open and sometimes it's not. So that happens and that's out of my control. But this, I was like, I got to get back home. And like when I got home, I literally set my bags down, filled all the orders, got them ready to go out the next morning, and then did all the laundry and stuff. Yeah, but I don't like that. So let's see. Kathy says, I love eucalyptus too. If you mix it with peppermint, you get a natural Vicks type. Yes. Yep. And this actually has both, had the peppermint and the eucalyptus. It does. Now, I will tell you, my husband had a cold probably, I don't know if it's been 5 weeks ago now, come home, and he's not good at covering his cough. I'm like, can you cough into your elbow? You know, that's how healthcare workers have been taught, is cough into your elbow. And he'll just like, and I'm like, I'm right here. Like you cough like in my, yeah, in my grill. But anyway, I started to get it. And so I have the fermented honey with garlic. I did that. I did my oregano oil, and I literally took onions from our garden, cut them up, got a fry pan out, and I just kind of fried them till they were like translucent. And then I filled an old tube sock. This is like 1900s. And I literally laid that across my chest, up around my neck. And then I've got these little bag things that you can heat up in the microwave. I don't know if it has corn, rice, it has something in it. And laid that across that. Oh my gosh. I don't know if one worked, all three worked, but I was knocking it out. And I never got it. I started to feel it, and I was like, nope, not taking this into patients' homes. So yeah, I got rid of that. Good morning, Faith and Hope. How are you? Lisa. So greetings from Southeast Indiana. Man, I wish I could remember the names of the towns that we went through, because we drove to Louisville, Kentucky, and we went through Indiana. It was beautiful. The trees were ahead of where we are, at least down where we live in Illinois. Way beautiful, pretty. And the biggest fields of corn and beans I've ever seen in my life. Like down here, we're completely corn, soybean, wheat, stuff like that. But it's like everybody's chopped up their own little like 180 acres. Some of those farms we went past, I'm like, that's a 5,000 acre, just all corn, like nothing in between. Like here, you can see a fence row or a grass waterway, knowing that that's like a separation of somebody's property. Down there, like, or over there, I mean, they were massive. And I was like, oh, and then you have all the spray, and my nose filled up because they were taking everything down and the dust was going across the road. But it happens. I live in a town that has an elevator, so we get the dust everywhere. So I can't wait for that to be done. I will be very happy with that. Karen says, good morning. Hello. How are you, Karen? I'm glad you're doing well, Faith. Cat Diamond. I haven't gotten a cold in years, but when I did, I would put oregano oil on bottoms of my feet or in a capsule, and it would get rid of it ASAP. Yep. So what I do with the oregano oil, I never take it straight in the mouth. I have taken it orally, but I'll usually take like this much of my coffee, my husband's coffee. I'll add a little water to it because I can't stand it straight. And then I'll put, 3, 4, 5 drops in there and just down the hatch. I've never put it on the bottom of my feet. I've put it here. I've put it across my sinuses if my sinuses were bothering me, or up on my temples, or right here behind the ears where you have those lymphatic glands. And it does a good job. In fact, I've got some out there on the back porch percolating in the back window right now, because I have sold a lot of that and was getting kind of low. And I'm like, does that take 6 weeks to make or 2 weeks to do? Because, like I do elderberry tincture and stuff like that, that takes 6 weeks. Dandelion takes 6 weeks. So I am going to start those. It's so weird to go to like someplace and buy these great big bottles of like high-end vodka, because I don't drink. I didn't drink vodka when I did drink. But they're all like, do you need a receipt? And I'm like, yes, it's for my business. And they're like, what do you do? They look at me kind of strange, but I always have like these kind of shirts on that say like healing humanity, carnivore, strange stuff. I do have to tell you guys a story, and maybe I already did last week, but I don't think so. About going out to eat with Russ, Sandra, and my husband at a Carrabba's in Louisville, Kentucky. And no shade on them. Everybody else's stuff was absolutely wonderful. Let's see, Lisa C. It was great to see you with Brett. Yes. Yep. I know, I know. You guys do meetups together. So what she was saying, it was great to see you with Brett Miner, which is Who's Your Carnivore. And she said they do meetups together. I every time you guys had a meetup, or every time he reached out and told me, like on Russ's homesick Buckeye channel when we would do like we grilling or whatever, he would give me a date, and I'm like, I'm on call. I mean, if I'm on call, I can be about an hour away, but I mean, Louisville was 7 hours away, so I'd say I don't know how many hours, but I'd say it's probably at least three, which is fine. But if I'm on call, I can't. And every one of them so far, I've been on call, and I don't take a lot of time off of work, but I'm going to get better at that because I am definitely doing Keto Palooza again next year. Absolutely. If they put the tickets out for sale tomorrow, I would have them. That was absolutely amazing. I thought I ate a lot of meat here, but when like you're paying for it or somebody else, because somebody else bought our dinner the first night at the Brazilian steakhouse, even though we said no, um, I was like, I'm getting my money's worth. So it's probably how people feel when they go to a buffet and even though it's not great food, but I think that's probably how they feel. Let me see. Sometimes, Cat Diamond says, sometimes I would take elderberry as a preventative. Yep, absolutely. I have somebody who has I think it's a 6-month-old baby, and they're utilizing the tincture because they're doing all natural with her. She's had no in the arms or the legs, and they're trying to do all natural, kind of like the Amish would do, Mennonites, people like that. Um, that probably are pretty smart. But anyway, she's doing that. So she's utilizing some of those things that are preventative prior to. Um, I don't make the elderberry syrup. But if somebody has the elderberry tincture and a child's like, ooh, that's a little strong, they can always put it in like a couple drops of honey or something like that, or put it in their juice or water or whatever. They won't know it's there, but they'll feel wonderful. Let's see. Karen says, had a sinus cold 2 weeks ago, started in my throat as it always does. I haven't been sick for 3 years. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Some of the like naturopaths and osteopaths and things that I follow said the same thing. Like they have had no issues. Some of them never caught the C, back in the day. And, but they said this year, boy, they're catching this cold. So if anybody knows how viruses work, they replicate themselves and make copies, and they change a little bit each time. And they can do that as fast as every 3 days, which is why it's kind of hard to find to ever keep up with it. That's my 2 cents, which will probably get me demonetized, but I don't care. Anyway, let's see. Lisa C. I agree. So, of course, deer season for shotgun season is November. Like my weekends off of call are deer season. So that's out. But yes, that would be wonderful. Maybe in the spring we could come up with something and I could do like an overnight thing down there. I might bring my husband. I may not. I mean, he had a blast at Keto Palooza. He didn't go to into like the speakers and vendors and stuff like that. Although, if I decide to sell any of my products next year, I'm gonna hire him to be in the vendor room, which means he'll hear it anyway. But he's used to it. Let's see. Well, thank you, Lisa. That would be awesome. So if I didn't tell anybody, I might have already. I don't know because I just was so mortified. I am somebody that I'm very opinionated, as you know. I don't put up with a lot of stupid, and I do mean stupid. There's a difference between ignorance and stupid. But at the place that we went to eat Saturday night, I ordered two 16-ounce ribeyes. Russ ordered two 16-ounce ribeyes. Sandra got one, and my husband got like regular, like lasagna and pasta crap, which is what he eats, is fine. But anyway, I mean, they were beautiful. I took pictures of them. They were beautiful. And so I start to cut into mine, and then I looked at my knife, and I was like, "Is my knife not sharp? What is happening?" So I just kept going. In all of my life, I have never sent back food, and I almost didn't do it. But then I was like, "It's going to be $84 for two of these steaks. I'm not going to not say something." But I mean, it took me at least 35 minutes to get like 4 bites out of one of those 16-ounce ribeyes, because there was like, just a bunch of like tendon material. And it wasn't like it was in one spot and you got to cut across it and the rest of it's good. It literally was like it was at the end of the ribeye where it connects, and had all that connective tissue twisted in there, almost no fat on mine. Cut into the second one, and it was the same way. And I'm like, oh, well, the manager, when she finally came out to talk to me, she was like, yeah, this happens with ribeye sometime. And I'm like, ma'am. And I did this, and I had a shirt that said carnivore, showed a cow, and gave all the different cuts on the cow. I'm like, I've been doing this for over 5 years. Not to be a smartass, but I have never ran into this before. And I've bought in cheaper cuts of meat. I've never had a steak like this. I don't know how this looked before it went on the grill, but it had to be, I mean, it was 99% white when I cut into it. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, and really, I mean, they did take the price of one steak off, and then they remade me another steak. And it was good. It was much better, because I was like, damn, I got some triceps after cutting through that. But otherwise, the whole event was amazing. It was nice to see everybody there. Good morning, Cammie. How are you? I was watching one of your shorts the other day, and you were eating a cold meat cookie. And when we were driving back from Kentucky, or not Kentucky, yeah, Louisville, Kentucky, we were coming back. I had made up 4 quarter-pound hamburger patties prior and took them up in a cooler in case I ran into something where they didn't have, what I would want to eat. I had already fasted for over 30 hours prior to going. So I was like, I'm not fasting any longer. I'm going to eat. So I had that available. Well, on the way home, it's a 7-hour drive with the way I drive, and I drive fast. It'd be like 8.5 hours with my husband driving, because he does not. He likes to drive slow and gawk. And but anyway, so I ate those on the way home, and they're delicious. One of my favorite things to eat. As Kelly Hogan says, if you can eat a cold hamburger out of the refrigerator, you are truly hungry. So, all right. Well, what I'm going to do, since this recipe made 230 mLs, and then just a fourth of another one for this arthritis relief, I'm going to make at least another batch equal to that, so that I have 3 or 4 that can go online, because the other 2 are already spoke for people in my community. And then I'll tell you what my next one is. And I may not get online until late. I don't know. We'll just have to see, because I want to get my packages out this morning too. The next oil that I'm going to make is called Skin Deep. And that is going to be for like your seborrheic dermatitis. You could also use it with your psoriasis. So I'm going to go over that. I think it'll be very good too. So this is the same recipe that I used for my 97. She was 96. Now she's 97. Anyway, she had huge plaques all the way down the front of her legs and across the low of her back. This is what I made for her. And telling her dairy was probably her issue, as she was eating yogurt that day. And she was like, I thought you'd say that. She quit doing that, and we started doing this. Her son would put this on her at least once a day. And within 2, 3 weeks, her nurse practitioner called me and said, "What are you doing?" And I told her, and she said, "We literally have used everything on her. We've used steroid creams out the wazoo." She goes, "We've done everything except a biologic med because of her age." Her son is medically trained and was like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not shutting down my mom's immune system so that she doesn't have plaques on her legs, so that she can catch everything that comes down the pike." So I was like, "Yay, you stood up for your mom. I like that." So I told her and she goes, "Wow." She goes, "That worked extremely fast." And what was odd is if you're somebody that has the psoriasis, when those come off, the skin underneath, even if you're not in an outbreak of it, kind of has a reddish cast to it. Like you can tell something's been there. She did not have that. And she's 97, going to be 98, I think, next month. So she didn't have that. It looked like regular skin. You couldn't tell anything had ever been there. So I think I think people are going to like this. So we'll see. Karen says, "What about scalp?" Yep, you can use it in there too. Now, what I would do is even like eyebrows. So one of the people I'm making this for has it very bad in the eyebrows, up in the hairline, up in the scalp. So what I'm making with that does not have turmeric, so you don't have to worry about it burning, getting into your eyes. What I am going to make is just going to have, let's see, 4 different types of the oils in it. So what I would recommend doing is like if you have it in your eyebrows, your scalp, I would spot treat those areas and kind of, get it in, let it set for a while before you're going to like shampoo your hair, and then wash that out. With the eyebrows, you would just take a washcloth, and I would not use soap. I literally would just clean those areas and take that out of there. But yes, going to be good for that too. Kathy, wow, great testimony. I really need to do a video at some point with all of the patients that I have had. I wish my 2 diabetics that are no longer diabetics, I cannot get them to come online. They are so like, both of them are men. They're in their late 70s now. Yeah, because the one, he'll be 77 now. Had been diabetic for over 25 years and he's no longer diabetic. But he's like, I'm not going, I mean, even the thought of using a smartphone, he's like freaked out. So I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get him. I've tried. Um, as for the other, I mean, I've had, the psoriasis, I've had the psoriatic arthritis, I've had, um, gosh, well, the kidney disease. I've had several that were like right getting ready to be on dialysis. MS. That's probably one of my biggest ones that I did not do it. She did all the work for it, but she is up walking and she had been wheelchair bound. I think she was 51. She was an LPN nurse, hadn't been able to work, and she did strict carnivore because her neurologist was like, that we don't have anything else we can try. They had tried every single thing. So I personally myself called him. He was in the same building as where I worked, and said, "This is what I'm going to recommend and this is why." And I said, "You do recall that in the 1920s, 1930s, before they came up with a pill for epilepsy, the keto diet that is high fats was used to treat these children." And he's like, "Oh, absolutely." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "So that's what we're going to do." And when she had her repeat testing, I think I don't remember how many plaques she was down to the last time I saw her, but I know it was under 5 and she was way high, like 30 something. It was crazy high. So that one is like that. I mean, all of them are life changing. Diabetic, not having that, but the MS being put into remission, that's a big deal. Big, big deal. Our bodies can heal if we let them. Okay, Kathy is like, are your thoughts on rose hip oil? I don't have anything that I use it in, but I'm trying to think, what did I used to take years ago when my triglycerides were really crazy high, like 1,000 at least. I did take lecithin capsules. They were look like a fish oil, and they had rose hips. I don't know why. Didn't seem to bother me. Helped me get my triglycerides down with that and cutting out all the carbohydrates that I did. That worked very well. Let's see, Karen. Okay. I can put on scalp and leave overnight. Yes. Yes. So you could put it on and leave it on for as long as you want to, um, and then just wash it off. But like you can use shampoo, bars, or whatever you use for your hair. But if you have it on your face, I never recommend any kind of soap for the face. But that's what I would do. Let's see. Let's see. Have off form of psoriasis, scalp, ears, and some creases on body. Yep, I would do it. I would do it. Okay, Kathy says, I need a video for chronic kidney disease to share with my family who think eating meat is damaging my dad's kidney. Oh, um, let me think. I know that I should have one out there that we discussed. I don't remember if it was when I interviewed Darth Carnivore, which is Charlie, or if it was Carnivore Brothers, where he showed like how much he had improved his kidney numbers. And when I talked to a nephrologist, which is a kidney doctor, before about a patient, I just asked him, where does it make any sense? I understand phosphorus. So, like the orange juice and the peanut butters, I understand that. Very hard for the kidneys to break down. But I said, when we get the amino acids and we have the meat, and that's what builds, that's part of the building blocks of the human body. How is that hard for a kidney to filter? And how much it is getting to the kidneys to even be filtered? Because we break it down right here. And if anybody doesn't believe that, they need to follow Kent Carnivore. His name is Lee, and he has a ileostomy bag that he's like, when I eat meat, you don't see meat come out in my bag. But if before, when he had first had his surgery, he's like, if I ate broccoli, it showed up in my bag. If I ate this, it showed up in my bag. So yeah. Let's see. I think Dr. Berry just put one out this week. Oh yeah, yeah, I did see that. It was a short. I mean, that's a good place to start too. Is going and looking through some of these videos that doctors have done, especially Barry, Chafee, the ones, and this is nothing against the other guys, but the ones that are kind of out on their own and they're not concerned about repercussions from where they work. I love Tony Hampton, and Baker is pretty careful. He doesn't really talk a lot about that. Tony Hampton has to be very careful because of where he works or just working for the system. So he's very careful about what he discusses. So, but yeah, I would definitely do that. I thought Dr. Chafee had done one. So Lisa says Dr. Chafee put out a kidney video a month ago, 4 months ago. So that's something I would look through there and definitely pull those down. And if they say anything about that, they're always so big about saying, well, show me the studies that do this. Show me the studies that show that high protein diets damage kidneys. I will promise you, not out there. Not out there. Not out there at all. So, anyway, okay. I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to make up this second one so that I have plenty so I can put some up online. And then I will, depending on time, I will come back and I will later today, sometime, either this morning or after that. I'm not sure. But I will make my skin deep oils, and I will do that live so that you guys can also make that. So, let's see. Search of his channel. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you can just go out there on YouTube, type in Dr. Chafee, carnivore, and kidney, and it's going to pull it up. It will. So let's see. They have no studies. And when you do look at some of the studies that they're like, "Oh, I've got this," or "We've got thousands of these studies," and I'm like, "They're epidemiological studies," which means somebody sent me a survey and I put down what I did over this amount of time. It's not double blind, there's no placebo group, nobody's watching you. Well, people are born liars. It's just the way it is. I mean, if you go to the doctor and you're a smoker and you tell them it's 1 pack a day, we are trained to go, 2 packs a day. It's just the way it is. All right. Well, I'm going to get off of here. You are welcome for the information. Lisa, we will definitely have to work together with Brett to get something set up for maybe the spring. And I'll bring my own meat. Like it'll be awesome. So we will do that. All right. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I will probably see you in a little bit, but it may be a little bit later this morning. And I do need to go see my mom and pick up more ribeye fat, of course. So I'm going to go do that today as well. See you guys.